On today's show, Dallas Mavericks lose a must-lose game. What now for the Mavericks that they're officially eliminated from playoff contention? We'll talk about that and more on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
How about 10 Mavericks, NBA champions? Bang! It's good, and the Mavericks have won the game.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Loyalty never fades away.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager, Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, where we let it die.
Let it ride. Let it ride,
Let it
baby.
ride. Let it die. Let it.
They achieved it. Let it ride.
They achieved their goal. Maybe when the Mavs achieve their goals, we should let it ride, right? We'd let it ride after trades. Thanks for being part of the show. Make it Locked On Mavs your first listen every day and every post game for as long as the post games happen. We're free wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube. Where the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day and to comment anything below. Let us know, how gross did you feel during that Mavs Bulls game? That tank fest of a game. Joining me as always, my co-host, writer, contributor at Mavs.com. The Tank Titan, the One More Thing King. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
Nick, do you have the acoustic?
Do you have it? Yeah, I'm gonna grab it because we gotta. It's got to be a call. There's got to be a call tonight.
Can we do a call right now at the top?
You want to do a call right now?
I want to do a call right now. I'm feeling it.
All right, set it up. Set it up.
Guys, today's Good Friday. We're recording this on Good Friday after the game, and if you don't know what Good Friday is about, this is the day that Jesus died on the cross, and this is also the day that the Mavs died. What a painful season. What a brutal season. And as we think back at what the Mavs endured this season, really wasn't as a substitute for us because they went through it and we all went through it. But just the painful death of the Mavs. The curtain tore tonight. The ground shook in the AAC. And the Mavs died. But let me tell you what happens 3 days later. The Mavs are not coming back to life, but Jesus did. And the tomb rolled away. The Mavs are just going to stay. It's going to be more like, I don't know, like 6 months. And the Mavs might come back to life and come out of the tomb. That's all for my altar call. It's done. It is finished. Yes.
It is finished.
If you guys want to come to a church on Easter, you can come to the church I work at, Irving Bible Church. If you'd like to.
No, it is finished. It is finished indeed.
It is finished indeed.
Dallas Mavericks officially eliminated from playoff contention. There's your official altar call from Pastor Isaac. And then Locked On Mavs. Mavericks lose to the Chicago Bulls, 115-112. Score doesn't really matter, except for the fact that the Bulls scored more points than the Mavericks. We got word before this game that Kyrie wasn't going to play. Tim Hardaway wasn't going to play. Christian Wood, Maxi Kleber, Josh Green for rest. 22-year-old getting rest is always good. Yeah. Like, hey, extra rest on a Friday, that's always good. And then we heard Luka Doncic was going to play for 1 quarter and come out there and play. Isaac, why did Luka only play for 1 quarter, even though they put him out there at the beginning of the second quarter out there? But why did he only play 1 quarter?
I mean, he wanted to show some love to the Slovenia fans in the arena tonight. And, Slovenia night in the AAC, super kind of risky putting it this late in the season here, second last game. But, he wanted to go out there, show them some love.
You wouldn't think it'd be risky after a Western Conference Finals run and all that. Like, you'd think that end of the season, they'd be fine.
Yes.
But here we are.
Well, even risky in the sense of, like, if they had, like, a seating, shout out to those days, seating, like, locked up, he might not play. But he got out there, played for a quarter. Then he came out and played, just a 10 the second quarter. Like, is Luka revolting? Like, Luka, I'm playing all okay.
Started the second quarter, got a bucket, fouled immediately, intentionally, and then got out of the game. Like, he needed that one more bucket.
And then, and then it was finished. Well,
It was finished indeed.
It was supposed to be finished. I got really worried.
Okay,
I was like, really? Like, really? Out of everything you've wanted to do this year as an organization has not went the way you wanted it to go. So let's just follow the path here of like the one time you want to lose. Of course, you can't lose. They end up losing, but I got worried for a while.
So you came into this game full-heartedly wanting them to lose this game.
Lose the game. Like, if they would have won this game and didn't like rest everybody. I mean, I like legit celebrated whenever the Mavs PR, account tweeted out today that those guys are setting. I'm like, wrap up shop. I've seen enough. I'm done. Like, there's no reason to win this game. And even like OKC is going to play Memphis. That's why I was like so shocked at like some of the like national media people that were like freaking out today about Dallas shutting down everything. I'm like, what do you like? Slam the Mavs about everything that's happened this season. And I'm like, I get it, guys. Like, I get it. It's been a disaster of a season. But to choose to slam them now for setting people, I'm like, no, this is what they should do. What are we doing?
Yeah, like it's almost as if they realize at this point, oh, the Mavericks are so bad. Yeah, every national show has been talking about how bad the Mavericks are for weeks now, it seems like, because it has been. It's been that bad, and they've been bad, and their defense has been bad and all that. But, yeah, to just, like, realize it now, I'm like, oh, they could be tanking for their odds. Now, if you're confused about why the Mavericks did this tonight, there was a lot of fans in the AAC that were confused about this, and were like, they were still cheering on the win. They were cheering on it all the way to the end, which I think a lot of fans just go to have fun, don't really care about the long-term effects of the Mavericks, just like to go drink, eat, whatever. But there were fans that were confused about it. The Mavericks basically, in the lottery stand, to make the play-in the postseason, to make a play-in game, the Mavericks had to win both these last two games against the Bulls and the Spurs, and the Thunder also had to lose against Memphis. Memphis already has number 2 locked up, right? So they have no reason to play anymore. Like they're done. They've got it locked. They've got 2 locked up. Jaren Jackson went off for 40 points tonight, and that's done. So they've already got that locked up. The Thunder are going to play the Grizzlies, and then now we're going to see, if the Thunder actually go for it. But if the Thunder, if they win against the Grizzlies, it doesn't matter what the Mavericks do in these other games. They wouldn't make the play in anyway, because their season has gone so bad. It's been so bad the last couple of weeks that they're completely out of it. So the Mavericks did not control their own destiny to make the play in. On the other side of things, their lottery standings. I apologize to the listeners that have listened every day. The Raccoon Squad, you've heard me say this like 8 days in a row. On the lottery standings, the Mavericks were tied with the Bulls for the 10th worst or the 10th best spot in the draft lottery. And so for them to keep their pick, they have to stay in the 10th spot. They have an 80% chance to keep their pick if they stay in the 10th spot. If they move just down to 11th, they have a 9% chance to keep their pick. Like, that's the difference that we're talking about right here. And if they tie, it comes to a coin flip. So the Mavericks wanted to lose this game, especially against Chicago, because it makes Chicago win one and the Mavericks lose one. So now the Mavericks are alone in 10th. Still a game left for each team. So they could still finish tied, which is kind of terrifying, but we'll see what happens then. But that's the difference. They got to keep this pick because they need an asset, because they got to add some stuff. This team is not going to just come back next season, change a scheme, change a rotation, change a starting lineup, change a culture or whatever, like change a few rotation players at the end of the bench and just be like, okay, they got to add something.
The worst case scenario out of all of this is to miss the play-in and miss your pick. Like, there's no good in that at all. So, with 2 games left in the season, if you can take control of that for the most part and get one of those things with your control, then you got to do it. And this is what that's the thing I didn't understand, is because even if they won this game and won the last game against the Spurs, they still don't have the power to get in. Like you said, like they had OKC to lose. And it's like, you have 2 games left and you can control one of those outcomes. You're not going to make a big run. And it's like, all right, you do this. Like, try to get to 10th pick. You get 80%, chance. Still have a, small little chance to move up to top 4, which that'd be massive. But if you get the 10th pick, there you go. And then we're talking about trade rumors and everything. And yes, selfishly for content, this is incredible, because now we can do draft prospects and trades and all this different stuff.
Mavericks have a 14% chance to keep their
Thank you for the milk delivery.
A glass of like a straight up glass of milk. Haven't we done this before on the show?
Yes, we're celebrating.
Are you eating? Are you at least eating cookies with this glass of milk?
No, I'm just drinking it.
In the comment section below, is drinking a glass of milk by itself white cow's milk? Is that?
I got that cow out back. Just got there and milk it and just.
What is that in 2023? Coming up, let's talk about some about this game, and then we'll talk about the Mavs going forward.
Let's talk about this.
What happens now? Because there was some fun stuff in this game. We'll talk about that coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about the Nissan Aria Player of the Week. I think I'm gonna give it to AJ Lawson just because he was fun.
I gotta give it to Theo.
Okay.
Theo jacking that shot up.
The Nissan Most Electric Player of the Week is brought to you by the all-new, all-electric 2023 Nissan Aria. I'm going to give it to AJ Lawson because I thought that he had some dunks, he had some offensive rebounds, he had some threes that were electric tonight. Love to see him get some time. I've been a fan of his. I wish he would have gotten some more time. He's only 22, so I hope he stays on the roster, gets a full-time spot next year, gets some time to develop a little bit more. And so I loved what I saw from AJ Lawson, including to end the second quarter, that block from Justin Holiday. Justin Holiday then outlets it to AJ Lawson, who's wide open, nobody in front of him, and he dunks it, like huge dunk where he cocked it back and everything right as the buzzer went off. If he had just done a normal dunk, I think he would have got it in, but instead he pulled it all the way back and dunked it. An incredibly electric play, stunningly powerful, I would say, just like the 2023 Nissan Aria. It packs pin-you-to-your-seat power and premium intelligence all in one EV. Shop now at nissanusa.com. All right, Isaac Harris, thanks everybody for listening to the show, being part of the show, and listening every day, even when they lose, even when they want to lose, and all that. We appreciate you. Thanks to everybody that came up to me during the game and got a sticker / whatever condom, whatever you say they look like. I did have 2 people come up to me and ask me for a Locked On Mavs condom. I appreciate that. And shout out to Julia, who came up to me today and says she listens every day. Really appreciate you for coming up and saying hi.
Okay.
Oh.
You just went right from Locked On Condoms to Julia, and I was like, all right, it's getting weird.
Julia, I gave Julia a sticker. There are no condoms. By the way, for the audio listeners, there are no condoms. They are just the same size. The stickers are the same size. And so it has become a joke now that people come up to me and ask for those. Weekend pods, am I right?
God. I mean, this will be the episode that Nissan listens to hear my ad read. Like, and then they'll keep listening and they'll be like, "What is the hell's going on with it?" It's more of this is just all done. Like this disastrous of a season. I mean, we have one more game, but it's more of that than it is like a weekend pod of like this team this year has been unbelievably like. It's wild. Like I tweeted at Austin Korea today. I was like, if there's ever been a season that's like, if you could create in a lab a Kirk series face like season for his brand, it's this season. Okay. And like, this whole season is like for Kirk. But yeah, it's been draining for a lot of us, but let's go back to this game.
The Mavsikists are out in full force right now for sure.
What about Jaden Hardy? Just a sidestep, one-legged
half
buzzer
court
beater.
Shot.
Yeah.
Hardy hit 3 threes, 9 points, only played in the first half. He was one of the players that couldn't play because they were worried that he would make too many shots. Good. Are we feeling good about that? If you're Jaden Hardy, or if you like Jaden Hardy, you're betting on his future. Are you feeling good that he was one of the players that they were like, all right, we can't play this guy at the end of the game?
Yeah, 100%. Because he's the type of guy that they played him all game. I mean, he's putting like 30 in this game. So yeah, I mean, he could only play 16 minutes, but you could also say the same about Dwight Powell. If Dwight played this whole game, maybe they would have won the game. I'm just kidding, guys. You work for Mavs.com,
are you allowed to make that joke?
I'm making all the jokes right now. We have a radio show coming out on Saturday.
Oh my gosh. Did you guys record it already?
Yeah, on 97.1 The Freak. We have recorded already. There might have been a conversation of like, should we put that out there? Of me really testing the lines on Mark Cuban's quotes. And So if I'm never allowed back on Mavs.com thing, you know why. It's because I've said some things about Mark Cuban's quotes. If you come off the bench, for a team who's trying to lose and you play the most minutes in a game a team is trying to lose, is that a shot at your confidence? Because Theo played 30 minutes in this game, played the most minutes, and I just wonder what that would do to your soul.
What if you're like 30-something-year-old Justin Holiday, who played the second most minutes off the bench? Like, what's Justin Holiday thinking at this point? Because he comes in, he leaves the Hawks, so he fell out of the rotation. He leaves the Hawks, comes to Dallas. His family's still back in Atlanta, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna come to this playoff team, and I'm gonna play. Like, I might start some games." And he starts some games early, and then all of a sudden the Kyrie trade. He's like, "Oh man, I'm gonna play with Luka and Kyrie. Like, this is gonna be awesome." And then all of a sudden, these last couple of weeks happen to Justin. I'm sure he's ready for the season to be done too.
Yeah, I also was laughing at Tim McMahon's tweets during the game. Kyrie Irving came out of the locker room with 2 minutes and 33 seconds left in the third quarter. I'm like, dude,
he's got to watch something.
Half the fans are probably still at the concessions. All right. Nerlens would have already gotten like 5 hot dogs.
Kyrie was spreading sage around the place because it needed a cleanse. The whole team needs a cleanse. Everybody does. Man.
Kobe White.
No, well, you want to talk about you want to talk about the Bulls, or do you want to talk about? I did like we talked about AJ Lawson in the Nissan Player of the Week, but I do think he showed something in this game, and I feel like anytime he gets some extended time, plays against some guys that are his size that he can guard, I feel like he shows some stuff.
He does show some stuff. He's super athletic. It's hard to pull from like, a game that a team's trying to lose. It's hard to say like, hey, this guy's gonna be a rotation player. If he got it into the like. Remember when he played well in Summer League, they didn't keep him. He went to Minnesota. Portion of the fan base threw an absolute fit because we lost.
I was upset about that. Yeah, I didn't like that.
Yeah, now we got him back on the 2-way. That's fine. Like, I think he's I'm all down to give end of roster spots to wings like AJ Lawson. Super athletic, receiving, get his 3-point shot consistent and all of that. But yeah. Sure, he was a lot of fun. I was more watching Markieff Morris tonight and was like, all right, he hits 3 threes in this game. He only played 8 minutes, but it's like he had that little stretch.
And they couldn't play him.
Well, dang it. Like, I wish he could have been something this year for like a good Mavs team.
Well, you look at the Bulls too, because the Bulls didn't really have anything to play for. They've already clinched their play-in spot. They're going to be 10th. They're not going to move up. They clinched this. Their draft pick they owe to the Magic for the Vucevic trade.
Yeah.
And it's top 4 protected. So, like, the only way that they gain anything in a win or loss right now is if they lose a little bit, their top 4 odds get a little bit higher. So, that's the only thing that they gain. So, the Bulls are, like, trying to run their young guys a lot to try and get them some extra time because they haven't looked really good this season. So, they rested their star players, and they played their young guys a ton in this game. Kobe White played 42 minutes. Ayo Dosunmu played 37. Patrick Williams, 36. He had 23 points. I thought he looked pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Bulls didn't really have anything to play for either. But the Mavericks, man, they went for it. That's as gross as I've felt watching a game in a while. Like, it brought me back to remember when the Mavericks were tanking a couple years ago and Salah Mejri won him a game?
Yeah, Memphis game, I think.
That Markieff Morris couple of points there reminded me of that. I was like, oh my gosh, is he gonna?
Well, JaVale hit that 3 there in the first half.
Oh my gosh!
It's like everything was going well. They were up double digits. I'm like, they're really gonna do this, ain't they? Like they're gonna do this to everybody. And you got to think about it too. If you're the players, you don't give a crap about the trying to lose thing. Like, you're trying to earn your next contract.
Yes, all these guys,
especially in this situation, because they know that they're probably going to turn this roster over. So it's not like you're out there, like doing want to do the franchise service here. Like, they're trying to lose. They're playing you. You're probably going to, like, a lot of those guys are probably going to be on a different team next year. So they're like, they don't care. Like, they want to go out there and play hard, play with pride. So I don't blame them. Yeah, and it got scary for a little bit.
As I was leaving the game, I was in the elevator, and there was 3 guys in there that were like, I I've played 8 minutes. Now I have to get some rest. Oh, they were whining about all the guys like getting rest and not like, oh, I've been sitting for so long. I can't put extra effort to get this loose ball or to get this rebound. They're whining about the amount of effort being played. I just turned around and I go, you guys know they were trying to lose, right? He was like, yeah, I know, but at least they could put some effort into it. I was like, what? Like, wait, what?
Try to lose. Come on.
Like, what did you want in this
more
game?
effort out there in losing.
What did you want in this game? I thought the guys that were out there put forth some effort. AJ Lawson for sure. He had some boards. He had 3 offensive rebounds.
You really liked AJ Lawson's game tonight.
I mean, if I'm trying to find a spark, if I'm trying to find something that was interesting to me, it was him. And anybody else
McKinley
interested?
Wright. I thought McKinley Wright had a few moments. He got into the paint.
He missed
some shots.
Took 14 shots. By the way, Luka played a quarter and like 1 minute and was tied for the leading scorer in this game.
It's awesome.
He scored 13 and nobody else scored. Lots of Slovenians there. That was really cool. I posted a picture on the YouTube community tab, so if you want, and on Twitter at Locked On Mavs. So if you want to see some of them, check it out. They all had the scarves that we have. I feel love. I feel
got my scarf somewhere back there.
So yeah, shout out to them. What's next? I mean, we'll have pods.
We still got a game, baby.
We got another game. We'll have a pod after that game. We'll probably talk about. We'll start doing draft. I mean, go listen to Locked On NBA Big Board. Rafael Barlow. I sat next to him during the game today. We talked about some draft stuff, and we'll do a lot of that.
Yeah, I think we need to properly give a eulogy to the season. You know, at least a pod.
Sure.
You know, coming up after the Spurs game, whether that's Monday's pod or Tuesday's.
There will be many pods that are eulogizing this season for sure, trying to figure out what just happened.
But you know, I also want to see some of these X-Day interview quotes too. I want to see how Nico and Jason Kidd and Luka's just gonna be going to Croatia, but tonight they were risking that Croatia flight super hard.
Instead of 1, 2, 3 Cancun, it was 1, 2, 3 Croatian vacation.
But no, I mean we'll have all those X-Day interview quotes on here on this pod. We'll react to them, maybe play a few and all that. We have to properly assess. I mean, I know we've been talking about give some blame. This has been a disastrous of a season for the Mavs. There's no other way to put this. You can't sugarcoat it. You can't, all this stuff. Like this is one of the worst outcomes that could happen for this season. And we need to talk
Luka
about
getting injured for the season, by the way.
Exactly. And we need to talk about why that happened, place some more blame, and then we'll start turning our head towards, now lottery night in May is going to be a huge night for us. So,
yeah, absolutely massive. And we already know that Jason Kidd's going to be the coach next season. So there's a lot of stuff to talk about with that. We'll have a lot of it throughout the offseason. And guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.